The wind howled across the open plains, stirring up waves of dust that danced like restless spirits under the fading sun. Her wagon wheel had broken miles back, and she'd been walking ever since, hand pressed to her bleeding arm, heart pounding with each shaky step. Her name was Clara Whitmore, a widow running from the kind of pain no soul should bear. Her husband had died in the mines 2 winters ago, and her last coin had gone into that wagon that now sat crippled in the middle of nowhere. Her little girl Annie sat quietly inside, too afraid to cry, too hungry to speak. Clara's world had narrowed to 2 things: survival and keeping that child alive. She didn't expect anyone to come, but fate had a way of stepping in when pride stood too tall. Out of the storm of dust appeared a man on horseback, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing the kind of weariness that only the prairie could carve into a man's bones. His name was Luke Carver, a single father who had buried his wife under a cottonwood tree 3 years back. He knew what loneliness looked like, and it was staring right back at him through Clara's trembling eyes. He dismounted slowly, hands raised, careful not to spook her. "Ma'am, looks like you got trouble," he said, voice low and steady. Clara backed away, clutching her injured hand to her chest. "Don't you dare help me," she hissed, her voice sharp but broken. Her pride was all she had left, and she wasn't about to let another man see her fall apart. But Luke just smiled softly, the kind of smile that didn't mock, just understood. "Too late for that, ma'am," he said, kneeling down beside her before she could argue. He tore a strip from his old shirt and wrapped her hand with a gentle firmness, ignoring her protests. "If I walk away, that hand's gone by morning," he murmured. Clara wanted to shout, to tell him to leave, but something in his eyes, calm, weathered kind, made her go quiet. Annie peeked from the wagon, eyes wide as Luke gave her a little nod, a silent reassurance that they'd be all right. As the wind picked up, Luke fixed the wagon wheel, his hands steady despite the chill that bit through the air. Clara watched him, torn between gratitude and fury. "You don't even know us," she whispered. Luke didn't look up. "Don't need to. Folks help folks out here. Or nobody makes it." His words hung in, the air like an old truth carved into the earth itself. When the wheel was back in place, he lit a small fire, shared what little food he had, dry bread, salted meat, and made sure the girl ate first. Clara sat apart, still guarded, but her heart trembled under the weight of simple kindness. She hadn't felt safe in years. As night fell, thunder rumbled across the plains, and lightning cracked the sky open like a warning. Annie drifted to sleep in her mother's lap, while Luke sat by the fire, staring into the flames. "You're heading west?" he asked quietly. "Trying to," Clara replied. "There's work in the valley, maybe a school for Annie." Luke nodded, eyes still on the fire. "That's a long road for 2 alone." Silence stretched between them. Then softer this time, Clara said, "Why are you out here?" Luke sighed. "Same reason as you, I reckon. Trying to start over. Trying to give my boy a chance." He nodded toward a small figure, asleep under a blanket near the horse. His son, Eli, no older than 10. For the first time that night, Clara's anger faltered. 2 broken families, both chasing light at the end of the same endless road. The fire flickered, and in that fragile glow, she saw something rare, not pity, but shared pain and maybe, just maybe, hope. But Clara wasn't ready to admit it. She stared at the horizon, voice trembling but proud. "I didn't ask for saving." Luke smiled again, that same gentle, stubborn smile. "Didn't say you did, ma'am. Some folks just help because it's right." She looked away, blinking hard, whispering to herself, "Then you're a fool." Luke chuckled quietly. "Reckon I am. But fools are the only kind left out here who still believe people can be better." And for the first time in a long while, Clara didn't argue. The storm rolled closer, but for the first time since her husband's death, she didn't feel alone. Chapter 2, Where the Light Breaks. Morning came painted in gold, soft and quiet after the storm. The prairie stretched wide and endless, dew glistening on the tall grass. Luke was already up, feeding the horses and checking the wagon wheels. Clara awoke with Annie still asleep beside her, the warmth of the fire's ashes still lingering. For a moment she forgot the pain in her hand, the emptiness in her heart. Then she saw Luke working silently, his movements deliberate. Kind. The way a man moves who's used to carrying burdens that aren't just his own. She stood, brushing dirt from her skirt, trying to find the right words. "You didn't have to stay," she said finally. Luke looked up, eyes tired but kind. "Maybe not. But the road's rougher than it looks. Ain't wise to travel it alone." They moved together that day, side by side, not as strangers, but as survivors. Luke taught Annie how to spot tracks in the dirt, how to tell if a storm was coming by the way the wind smelled. Clara watched, her heart softening with each laugh her daughter let out. There was a strength in Luke, not just in his body but in his soul, the kind of strength that came from loss and learning to stand again. As the miles passed, she began to see him not as a rescuer, but as someone who understood the same darkness she did. By midday, the sun blazed high, and they stopped by a creek. Luke's son, Eli, caught fish with his hands, grinning proudly. Annie clapped and cheered, and Clara felt her chest tighten, a strange mix of joy and ache. For a moment, they looked like a family, and that thought frightened her. When Luke offered her a cup of water, she hesitated. "You keep trying to fix things that ain't yours to fix," she said. Luke met her, 3-3 gaze calmly. "Maybe, but I learned the hard way. If you wait for someone to deserve help, you'll be waiting forever." That night, as the stars burned bright above them, Clara finally spoke the truth she'd been burying. "I lost everything, Luke, my husband, my home, even my faith. Every man I trusted left me with less than I started with." Luke didn't interrupt. He just listened, the firelight catching the deep lines on his face. "I ain't every man," he said quietly, "and I ain't asking for trust. Just offering company on the road." Tears slipped down Clara's face before she could stop them. Annie slept peacefully beside Eli, their small hands clasped without fear. Something inside Clara broke, not in pain, but in surrender. "Maybe I was wrong about you," she whispered. Luke smiled softly, looking at the children. "Most folks are wrong about the ones trying to help, but that's all right. We help anyway." As dawn rose the next morning, Clara climbed onto the wagon seat beside Luke. The prairie stretched before them, endless and alive. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like she was running from something. She was heading towards something. The past would always scar her, but in Luke's quiet strength, she found a reason to believe that maybe, just maybe, the future could be kind again. The wagon creaked forward, wheels cutting tracks into the soft earth. Annie and Eli laughed in the back, sunlight catching their hair like threads of gold. Luke glanced over, a gentle smile tugging at his lips. "Guess it's too late not to help now," he said. Clara looked at him, a faint smile breaking through the dust and weariness. Too late for that, indeed. The wind carried their laughter across the plains, and somewhere in that wild open world, hope began to grow again.